Okay, Dan, here's a look at the controller setup for the AC power side. And what you're going to be doing is removing this transformer and this power distribution board. And we're going to be replacing it with the new transformer that you purchased. We have the AC side, which is going to need to be hooked up, and that's going to be using these two wires right here. This is going to be called the neutral wire, and I believe you traced it all the way over and know, in fact, which one it is. We've labeled it AC neutral. And then this yellow wire here, this is going to go down and come up and go to the switch side here, and we've labeled that AC hot. So the hot wire and the neutral wire, those are going to go over to your new transformer. The new transformer is going to have a series of wires on it. There should be two black wires and two red wires. You are going to take the two black wires and tie them together, and take the two red wires and tie them together. The two red wires are going to connect to the white wire, and the two black wires are going to connect to the yellow wire. Once you've done that, send me a picture and we will confirm that in fact that is correct. Then we're going to move on to the breakout board. There is a set of wires that we're going to be disconnecting from the breakout board because we are no longer going to be using those right now. And in this case, those two wires are this black and white wire that go up to this pin on the corner. These are black and white, and you can see they pass through the bottom of the case, and we're going to be disconnecting those. So you can take and disconnect these two wires from this blue connector. A small screwdriver should do that just fine. Just loosen them and pull them out, and you can actually pull those totally out of the case, because the other end of those two wires come through the case and go underneath the board, and they come up on this side and they go to 12 volt and out 4. And if we look at the board here, you can see we have out 4 here and 12 volts here. So they're going to be connecting here. The white wire connects to 12 volts. The black wire is connecting to out 4. You can remove these two wires from the case, so you can pull those totally out. We're not going to be using those. Finally, we come to the 50 volt wiring, and I have here the 5 amp fast blow fuse and a fuse block. I will be wiring up the fuse block for you and sending you both the fuse block, the wire, and the fuses. On your power supply, you have an output here, 50 volt output. You have 2 pluses, a 0, and 2 minuses. So I've done a drawing that's going to show you how to hook those up. And if we take a look at the drive, what I want you to note here is that on your drive you have screws starting on this end. 1 is power ground, 2 is 24 to 80 volts, 3 is coil A, and so on. So this is pin number 1, pin number 2, pin number 3, 4, and so on. We are only concerned now about pin number 1 and pin number 2, which would be this screw here, number 2, and this screw here, number 1. On the original wiring, pin number 1, which is this one, was brown, and pin number 2 was yellow. We're going to continue that color code. So I've got a drawing here that shows, and this is going to be the X drive. You also have, let's look at this picture here, you'll have 4 drives total. I don't remember in which the order is, but it doesn't really matter. Each drive has a letter on it, and all we're concerned about is that we get a yellow wire and a brown wire to each of pin number 1 for the brown wires and pin number 2 for the yellow wires. And these yellow wires and brown wires are going to come from your power supply, which is going to be off of this block right here. So if we look at the drawing that I created using this image that you sent me, which is going to be over here, and using the image of the drive, which I have originally, that's going to be here. And remember, we're concerned with pin number 1 and pin number 2. We will start with pin number 1. Pin number 1 is going to have a brown wire that's going to go from each drive, which would be here. We can start over here, and whichever drive this is, we're going to connect a brown wire to it. So you have down here, I have 4 brown wires. You see I have an X wire, an A wire, a Z wire, and a Y wire. And those wires come up to this block here. And if we take a look at the larger image, you can see that we have plus, plus, which these are going to be the yellows. And in the 0, we're not going to use. And then we have minus, minus, and that's where the brown wires are going to connect. So we're taking 2 brown wires on this terminal, 2 brown wires on this terminal. We're not using the 0 terminal, but we have 2 yellow wires going on this plus terminal and 2 yellow wires going on this plus terminal. And that's exactly what I've drawn right here. You can see this is the plus side, these 2. This is the 0 not used, and this is the minus side. The brown wires go to the minus side, the yellow wires go to the plus side. The yellow wires go through the fuse block, and then you will insert a fuse, and then the other end of this yellow wire goes up to the drive. Each one of the drives gets a yellow wire. This first one, I just written down here, X drive, pin number 2. The next one is wire to A drive, pin number 2. The next one is wire to Y drive, pin number 2. And then wire to Z drive, pin number 2. So the yellow wires go to pin number 2. The brown wires go to pin number 1. When you have this wired up, I want you to send me a picture. And again, you will not be able to wire any of this up until I send you the components needed to do so, which is basically the fuse block, the fuses, and the wire. What I do need you to do is tell me how long you need the wires to be so that they can reach from the fuse block to the drive, and then also from the fuse block to the connection on the power supply. So I don't know if 6 inches is long enough here and you need 18 inches here, or what exactly the length is that you need, but that's what I need to know so that I can create these wires for you. So basically what you're going to be doing is, if you, let's say you've put that power supply up here, you've mounted it on what we would consider to be the top of the box. And I'm not sure what hole is you went through, but if you want to take a piece of string and run it from wherever you're going to put the fuse block, maybe you're going to put the fuse block over here. So you need to tell me how far from the power supply to the fuse block. And then you can figure the fuse block is 1 inch wide, and it really doesn't matter because you can just measure from a point here and give me a length of what you need for the longest wire. Because then if you're going from here, and let's say you're going through this hole here, so that means we're going to run around, we're going to go through the hole, and we want to keep these wires neat, so maybe you'll run them down and then go across the wall here and then up into each one of these. But either way, I need to know how long the wires need to be. and then I can get the wires the correct length for you. So that's a look at how we go about hooking up the DC 50 volt side of this circuit. So with this, you should have enough information to wire it up. If you have any questions at all, let me know and I'll be glad to answer them for you. But hopefully I've made this wiring process here really simple for you. Remember, whenever you're done wiring each component, send me a picture of both ends of the wire so that I am sure that it's wired up properly. Now, I should add, if you want to use the yellow wire and the brown wires that are already hooked to the drives that you unplugged from the power distribution board, you can give me a measurement on the fuse block to each of the yellow wires, and then also give me a length from the power supply down to each of the brown wires. So because those wires are the same length, you're probably going to need different lengths for each wire. So I need to know if you want the links to have the connector in them, or if you just want to unscrew them and put new wire. I suggest we do a solid wire rather than use those connectors, because everywhere we have a connector we have a point that could fail. But if we have a solid wire, then we won't need to worry about the connection failing. But you can let me know, and if you have any questions or you don't understand what I just said, just give me a call and I'll explain it to you.